gonna talk some boxing. Move my headphones from here. Talk a little bit of boxing, man. That's what it's all about. So, what we're gonna talk about, as you can see from the title, has to do with Errol Spence and has to do with Devin Haney. Now, I was listening to some people, and they were saying that Sean Porter even said it. He thought that Devin was sort of emotionally shaken up by what Linares did to him, and it took a couple of fights to clear out the cupboards. I never saw that. I never got that indicator. They were saying that, Devin Haney's father, Billy Haney, didn't know what to do when Devin got buzzed by Jorge Linares, which is not true. Actually, Bill Haney looked at Devin and they realized he wasn't too badly shaken up, but he didn't want to take any chances. So they proceeded to, the game plan was just not to get touched in the successive rounds. Besides that, the guy who was actually training Devin was Ben Davis. So he was off on that too. And then I heard them say that Devin was trying to survive the last two rounds, 11th and 12th. If I do recall, Devin kept on staying in the pocket. He kept on fighting in the pocket. And he tried to get to the inside right up on Linares, and then he would throw his shots. Or he would spare jab Linares, hit him with a spare jab or with a right hand. And he tried and dip, bob and weave to get back to the outside. Okay, he was trying to dip and slip. Sometimes Linares would catch him with certain shots. And Sean Porter went on to say, at least according to Blue Blood Sports TV, that it looked like Linares was throwing the fight or that Linares wasn't giving it his all. So let me get to that. Like I said before, Linares is a smart fighter. If the guy's still alive and you ain't getting him out of there, why would you waste your energy trying to throw all your energy into that and next thing you get knocked out? It wasn't like Linares was throwing punches and Haney wasn't responding. Haney was throwing back punches. And some of those punches were sharp, spare jabs, snapped Linares' head back. So I think a lot of people wanted to see a scrap out, a cat fight. Haney would roll under and get to the inside, or he would dip, bob and weave and get to the inside. Once he was on the inside, he would try to land some body shots on Linares or clinch up and land body shots. So he was trying to do that. He's also trying to tire out Linares by pushing him to the ropes once he got to the inside. So that's what you saw in the 11th and 12th rounds. All right. I didn't see anything wrong that Haney did. I thought he fought very smart to the end. He wasn't trying to survive. He was just simply making sure he didn't get hit unnecessarily. But besides that, if he wanted to survive, he would have boxed on the outside and stayed on the outside. He moved to the inside, not just to smother Linares, like people tried to say, but also to work his body where he knew Linares did not fight on the inside. He's not an inside fighter like that. He's a mid-range fighter. So he could get off his inside shots on the inside. So that's why he slipped to the inside of Linares, to get on the inside of him. So those are the reasons. He could have boxed on the outside, but he very smartly would roll under Linares' punches and roll to the inside. Okay? For those of you saying Linares could have taken a step back, and he tried to do that. He tried to sidestep Haney, but Haney knows how to dip, roll under, slip punches, and get to the inside. He can be right up on you like that. And that's what Haney showed, a unique skill set. Okay? So that's what you guys don't get. It's not like he could just, because Haney was getting to the inside. He was rolling under Linares' punches, and then he would get to the inside. He would roll under, roll in, and he'd roll under, roll out. So, or he'd dip and slip or whatever. But in the end, Haney was successful throughout the fight, getting to the inside of Linares. And he was just doing that. He just wasn't throwing enough punches once he got to the inside. He was trying to, but sometimes he had like a cramp for space, so the referee would separate him before he could throw a punch. Okay? Now, with respect to Pacquiao versus Errol Spence, Floyd Mayweather said that he's willing to give Errol Spence a few pointers on Pacquiao and let Errol Spence know as much as possible about Pacquiao. Now, that changes the complexity of everything. If Mayweather, who was rooting for Errol Spence to win, if Mayweather is in Errol Spence's corner, Errol Spence is going to win the fight, period. I don't care what anybody says. Mayweather is a formidable weapon for whoever seeks his help. A formidable weapon. Okay? You listen to him and you take his advice seriously, you are in a very good position to win a fight. That's why I say when I heard AJ, Mayweather was looking at helping out AJ with Tyson Fury, I said that changed the complexity of everything. You know. So, Errol Spence, if Mayweather has anything to do with Errol Spence facing Pacquiao, that totally changes everything. Okay? Another thing I heard had to do with, it was in a group, a boxing group, and a guy was talking about how people are stupid to be buying the Mayweather versus Logan Paul fight, which happens tomorrow. Listen, whether they're casual fans or not, whether they just want to see a spectacle, they're not stupid for doing that. People have consumers, they can do whatever they want. It's not my thing. To me, it's not a competitive fight whatsoever. Floyd's going to beat up Logan Paul and then stop him. But those people who pay to see that, all right, good for you. You know, I'm not going to knock people for wanting to see what they want to see. I'm not going to pay to see with that, but I'm not going to knock them for it. And those people who are angry, the people are going to watch that fight, you need to check yourself and check, you know, your attitude. Because how are you helping the sport of boxing by hating on a boxer? How are you helping the sport of boxing when people are choosing to do boxing over any other sport? Now, okay, they're making a ton of money. It doesn't matter. Boxing gets a shine. It's time to grow up. If you don't want personally to go watch that fight, nobody's going to knock you for that. I don't think it's a competitive fight, so I'm not watching it either. But you can't knock the sport, and you can't knock the people who want to make money in the sport because you don't think it's a legitimate fight, a legitimate competition. Especially if it's an exhibition, you can't really say much. Now, if they were to do it as a pro fight, that's totally different. But as an exhibition fight, have a go. Do whatever you want. Pacquiao versus Errol Spence is a fight. That's a fight I'm paying to see. Lopez versus Haney would be a fight I'd pay to see. Charlo, Jermell Charlo versus the WBO champion. I would pay to see that. Those are fights I pay to see. Okay, because I like boxing like that, competitive fights, or fights that look at least on paper to be competitive. All right, people, what you need in the building. Peace.